Hello everyone, and welcome back to, Rollsicle, kind of, right? It's an update video. So, a little while back, a good bit at this point, I mean, depending on your concept of time, we sent a message in the Discord saying, hey, we're no longer going to be doing the Rollsicle stream. We want to thank you guys so much for such a wonderful chapter in all of our lives. And more details may be to come, but don't think it's anything that you guys did. We love each and every one of you. And moving forward, there just won't be a stream. Hopefully more updates to come, right? And, there wasn't promised to be more of an update, but always in the back of my mind, I kind of had it that I would make this video. I just didn't really know how. I've done a lot of milling over exactly what I wanted to do for this video. There was a time where this video was scripted. There was a time where this video was going to be out in the living room where it normally is. So we have the classic Rollsicle backdrop. This is my room, by the way. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on everything that actually happened. I won't be going too much into details, especially about some things, which we'll be getting to, but I want you guys to generally kind of understand what went down, so that you can know, most importantly, that everyone here at Rollsicle is safe. Everyone that you knew and love is safe and doing good, and everyone is okay. All of those sorts of things. That we built a community off of love with everyone. We built a community off of the joy of sharing these stories. We very much had a hate-free Discord and chat and all of those things. So I know wholeheartedly that you guys care about us deeply, and so I wanted to make this video so that you guys can kind of have some peace and really know what went down. So I have some handy dandy notes that I wrote myself, just to kind of make me keep on track. But in general, I'm just going to kind of be following some bulleted lists. And like I said, I decided that this would be better to not be scripted, in the sense that I could just kind of say what's coming to mind. You guys could get a more real picture of what is going on. So to begin, as you guys know, when summer hit, we definitely were making a lot less content, right? We still had a few things releasing that were pre-recorded on the channel, but in terms of streaming, we had a plan to switch to Pathfinder streaming, which was going to be this campaign that I was running. I forget the name of it right now, for Meredith and Emily and Eliza, while Trenton went home for the summer. So that was the plan. And there are 2 or 3 episodes of that up there, and you guys can, at least at this time, currently go ahead and go watch those. Now, during the summer, we got really busy. Meredith and I were doing different camps. Emily was off doing some camps. Eliza was pretty regularly home and doing different things over the summer. And what we found is that there was a just large amount of weekends where we thought that we would all be free, and we weren't. At least someone was busy. Sometimes multiple people were busy. And so it turned into a couple months there where you guys got almost no content. That contributed to the drought of content right before things changed, and Rollsicle, at least the stream, isn't happening like that anymore. So then when we get to the end of the summer, we get to the real catalyst of everything that was going on. So near the end of July, I think the end of July. Near the end of July, Meredith and I decided that we would no longer be together. That's the plainest way that I can put it, right? There are obviously a lot of details to that. I want everyone to know that both of us are okay. I don't currently have a lot of information on her, but I know that my roommates, the other members of Rollsicle, do, and they tell me that she's doing okay and that she's really good, and that's wonderful, right? So I want everyone at home to not be too worried about that. We're both doing okay. These things happen, right? We're only 21 years old. And so realistically, it was, the longest story short, it was something that I think deep down, at least I don't want to speak for her, but maybe she also knew it was going to happen, but it did eventually happen. And that happening at the end of summer was a catalyst to a lot of things, because as you guys may have known, Meredith and I were actually engaged. We were intended to get married. That was going to be happening in May. And on top of all of that, we had basically formed Rollsicle together. It was made up of a group of our friends. The friends that it was made up of, including us, all lived together and moved in together into the house that we're in right now. So it was a very, very big deal. And in terms of us actually breaking up, it was something that I'm sure was almost off put because of the fact of how big of a deal we knew it would be, right? Sometimes in life, these things that are so daunting and that are going to affect so many people that sometimes you even shy away from things that you feel like need to happen. And ultimately, like I said, it happened. I think it's a good thing from what I hear. She's doing really good, and that's very important. So that kind of gets me to my next point there, right? Is I don't know 100% how she's doing because she's not here in this house anymore. One of the things that was decided for various reasons was that it would be easier for everyone involved, not just me and her, but also the friends that were kind of caught between everything that was going on, that she should no longer live here at the cottages, which is where we live. She still has a lease to my knowledge, but so obviously she's like welcome here to come if she needs to get stuff, but she does not stay here as basically like her primary residence of where she's actually living. She's still at UA, as far as I know. She's still pursuing her music degree, as far as I know, and that's really wonderful. But she's not currently here in the house. And so when everything was going down and things were being decided whether or not she should move, I should move, we were figuring out what was going to work best if we were going to continue to live together. Because while my previous point was we're both only 21, you can also make the point that we're both 21 and we're older and mature and could have potentially found a way to make things work and figure out how we could live together for this last year of college before life moves on and we kind of go our separate ways into our careers and the rest of our lives. And so there was a lot of chaos in all of that. And during all of that chaos, all of that confusion, all of life throwing 1,000 different things at us during the end of summer because we had maybe 3 weeks left before our school is going to start, and we're both heading into our senior year. We're both education majors, so we're going to be going into schools and internships and all sorts of things. Rollsicle kind of just went to the wayside, right? As much as we love you guys, and I mean that wholeheartedly, I can speak for everyone that lived in this house and was a part of Rollsicle. We love all of you guys. It was put aside for things in our personal lives and each other which matter more. And so it wasn't until things began to kind of get resolved, it wasn't until it was decided that Meredith was going to move out. We managed to get her moved out and kind of get things replaced because, of course, she brought things to the house that we needed to replace because she needed to take them with her. And all sorts of stuff was going down. It wasn't until probably mid to late August, maybe, that things, I would not say were settled in sense of like having moved on, right? Something that you've been in for that long, something that has connected so many of your friends and family members and the hobbies that you have, all of those things don't just change instantly. They don't just vanish, but things began to settle. There began to be a new ordinary in life that, I'm sure she found in focusing on school and these other friends that she has on campus that I found in getting back into school, getting back into some of my other hobbies. And so once things began to feel a little bit normalized, I knew that I needed to address things about Rollsicle. One of the things that happened when we were discussing just, the details, I guess I would say, of splitting up is that she told me, hey, me and you made Rollsicle. It was a kind of dream of mine, yes, but ours in terms of the actual creation of Rollsicle. I had a previous channel that I definitely loved and cared about and made content for, and had this dream and love of making content, but it was not Rollsicle. Rollsicle was our creation. We created it together. We created the email address. We created everything at her house together in this just dream of both of ours. And so I knew 100% that, this was going to be something we had to figure out. It was going to be something we had to talk about. Well, when she was moving out and she was figuring out all of the details, she told me, hey, that's not something I'm interested in being a part of anymore. Not because she didn't love it, not because she doesn't love and care about you guys, but because it's a anchor to a past that she needs to move on from, I'm sure. And I totally understand that. So she essentially told me, hey, do what you want with it, do what the roommates want with it, because at the time I hadn't talked to all of them about it yet. This is the forefront of all the chaos, not the aftermath. And so at the time, it was simply a hey, you can do what you want with it. I don't really care. I'm glad and happy for all the memories that we made. I loved the experience, but I no longer want that holding me back to this past life. And so I knew in stewing in all of that chaos that by the end of it, I would need to talk to my roommates and talk to the other Rollsicle crew and figure out what was going on with what, yeah, sure, me and Meredith had created, but so many people I contributed to, and we had built sort of this family around that we knew things were going to be changing significantly. And so all of the chaos goes by. Eventually, things become getting a little bit more normal. And I finally go, okay, I need to sort of begin picking up these pieces. I need to sort of figure out with the roommates what's going on. During that time, my roommates and the rest of the Rollsicle crew were talking amongst themselves about what they might want to do, what they're still going to be comfortable with, etc. And so I sat them down. I said, hey guys, I'm really more open to anything. I recognize that chapters in life come and go. We've had people on Rollsicle that we love that have came and gone, all sorts of things. So I really want to leave this more up to you guys. You guys have been caught in the middle of some major changes in our lives, yes, but their lives without their will, because they chose and are living with me and us at the time, and they kind of got thrown into this. So I wanted to make sure that they were comfortable, and I wanted to only do what they're comfortable with. So I was like, hey, make sure you guys talk amongst yourselves and just let me know what you guys decide. So eventually we sit down. I'm like, hey, we're all gathered together. It's a pretty rare occasion with all of us being college students and or working in Emily's case. And so we were all gathered, and I had a chance and said, hey, what have you guys thought about? And the general consensus was, hey, we love TTRPGs. We adore what we had with Rollsicle. It was a dream come true and made hundreds of memories for all of us, but it was not something that they were going to be comfortable with anymore. They knew that Rollsicle was something that was created by the whole group. It was something that was created by the family as a whole, and trying to continue that when the entire group that created it, that shared in that experience, isn't going to be partaking in it anymore. There we go. And more importantly, such a core foundation of it, right? Meredith ran so much of the stream. She cares so much about the stream and about you guys and about us and the players and the game and all of these things. She was such a core and integral part of the D&D stream that it didn't make anyone feel right continuing that stream. That, of course, was difficult for me. Not because I don't agree with any of that. I totally understand where all of them are coming from. But more realistically, it was difficult for me just because this was something we and I had all been crafting and telling for so long. And I knew that it wasn't going to come to fruition. But the conversation did need to extend into, well, do you guys want to start something new? Do you want to continue streaming? What is the general consensus around that? And the general consensus is some of them, if not all of them, would like to still play TTRPGs. They enjoy the game, they enjoy the shared memories, the shared storytelling, the commitment to the roles, the environment that it creates, and all of that. But they have sort of lost, or sometimes even felt pressured by the fact that it was being streamed and it was being shared. Not because you guys did anything, of course. We love and adore all the support that you guys have given us. But because it almost felt like a job, right? It almost felt like something they had to do. And they didn't want that pressure in an already chaotic time. They didn't want that pressure in a time that's already so busy when you're college students or full-time working. And they wanted to ensure that if they are playing TTRPGs, it's something of a relaxation. It's something of an escape and not something that they are pouring energy into. Yes, I think so many of us did that for all of our friends and all of you guys, and we loved the product of that. But considering that the product would have been changed, they didn't really think that it was worth it anymore. So at that point, the roommates and I had come to the decision. Rollsicle as we knew it, and the D&D stream as we knew it, was no longer going to exist. The Crystal Concord campaign was over. And so I needed to send something in the Discord to communicate that to you guys. And that is the message that you guys got. I hope that all of you guys saw that. And I really hope that you know that we mean every word that we said. We loved every second of that campaign with you guys. And I truly think I know for myself, but I think for all of us, it made memories that we will always cherish and never let go. Even if life has moved on in so many different ways, it doesn't mean that those memories were bad memories. It doesn't mean that the joy that we felt wasn't joy. And so much of that was because we got to share it with you guys. So I want to give you guys a huge thank you for that. I'm a little bittersweet because I'd love to see the fruition of such a great and grand story told by so many people and loved by so many people. But I understand that the circumstances given, that's not going to be the case. And I'm at a point where I'm kind of taking, hopefully, a more optimistic view on things and trying to say, hey, that doesn't mean that all that was written and all that was told is for naught. It was still good memories. It was still a grand story, and I still had so much fun watching what did get to unfold. Okay, so now you guys are kind of caught up to the message that you got. That's what happened. Excuse me. It's a little, like I said, difficult to talk about just because there was so much chaos with everything. And realistically, like I said, things began to settle, but so much aftermath is still being figured out. We're about 3 months, I think, ish, out of everything beginning to sort of change and fall apart because of the catalyst of us no longer being together. And yeah, obviously the ripple effects and how it is continuing to affect our lives is very present. But in terms of Rollsicle, I knew that things were going to significantly change. So it was at that time that I really started kind of grounding my feet into, okay, well, I have been past ownership of Rollsicle from Meredith, basically from co-ownership to, me. But, I wanted to make sure and say, hey, like, is everyone really okay with me taking this? I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to take it in, but if I do, is everyone okay with that? And at first, I was very sort of, what do I want to say? Like, focused in on just how much effort I and Meredith and others, but really I and Meredith put into Rollsicle. How much we cared about it, how much we talked about it and thought about it and did things for it, all sorts of stuff. And so, excuse me, I very much had the mindset of like, okay, I'm going to take this going forward, right? It's been handed to me. This is mine. And while I checked in with my roommates, they had a quick like, well, yeah, I mean, it's yours to do what you want with, essentially. But luckily, Eliza kind of pointed out to me, she was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that, there are funds in Rollsicle and a lot of us contributed to that. And it doesn't just sit right with me if that's not at least talked about more openly and given people a chance. So luckily, I kind of came around to that, and she really opened my mind up to how much everybody contributed and how much everybody was such a big part of the family, which obviously I knew that they were, but I was very honed in on just all the behind the scenes work that was specifically mine and Meredith's, that I kind of forgot just how much of actual Rollsicle was just sitting around and playing, right? Our entire motto essentially was, we're a group of friends playing D&D first, we're a stream second. And I definitely got it kind of out of my head about that group of friends. But luckily, I kind of came around to that. So messaging the roommates and making sure that everyone is okay if I move forward with Rollsicle, and making sure that they feel basically satisfied with the changing of Rollsicle, whatever it becomes, the shifting from what it once was to what it may be. Excuse me. I probably should have brought some water. So I messaged them all. The general consensus is, hey, can we all get a portion of the money just so that we can kind of feel that little bit of payoff? We can feel that little bit of send-off, which is perfectly fine. I went ahead and just gave them all their payout. And as far as I know, having checked a couple more times, talking to all of them, everyone is in this mind where the Rollsicle that they loved and they cared about had a proper send-off. They feel, obviously happy is not the right word, but they feel comfortable with how it all ended, given that it had to end. And so that is sort of where we're at. That is the Rollsicle where it is today, right? The very first bit of content that would be getting made is this very video. So The question is for that, like, where are things going? Well, one, I now have ownership and what I feel is peace of mind and comfort in that ownership. I have a good feeling that everyone that was involved with Rollsicle feels properly moved on, if they will, and are pursuing more like intimate and passionate hobbies of theirs. And that's wonderful. But for me, making content and doing YouTube videos and sharing the stories that I write and all of those things is content that I love to make. It is a hobby that I love to do. It's a passion of mine. And this channel that so many people poured into, but me as well, is still there and has some people and is a nice platform for me to kind of bounce off of and launch sort of, I don't want to say a new branch of my life, but because so much is changing, kind of help shift me into that. And remind me that while so much of my life has changed, so much of my life is still the same. My hobbies, my loves, my passions, they're mostly all unchanged because those were core and integral to who I am as a person. Just like many of the interests in that of those around me did not change despite the chaos of everything. So that kind of leaves us where we're at now. I still own Rollsicle. I'm excited because I hope to eventually make some future content. But what that's going to look like, that's kind of where I want to end this video off here with. So none of you guys have met her yet, but I do have a new girlfriend. Her name's Ashley. And she has been told about all of the Rollsicle situation and all of everything that went down. She is passionate about making content to an extent, though I'm not sure she's ever done it before, but I do think she would like to try it. And I would love to share that with her. So something that we think we will probably do going forward is something very akin to what maybe Trent and I did before, where we have this co-commentating Let's Plays or potentially different content just kind of sifted between the both of us. But Rollsicle was something that I loved sharing, whether it be with Meredith or Trenton or my entire group. I loved the fact that content that was being made on the channel was always a social aspect. I love that, right? So much of my life is devoted to convincing people that we should be more social beings. We should look up from our phones every once in a while and maybe interact with the people around us. And I don't think I want that to change, right? I think that moving forward with Rollsicle, if there are current friends, if Trenton wanted to make content, or if my new girlfriend and I, Ashley, want to make content, or if there's someone else that I find, like if you guys go way back to that original YouTube channel I was talking about, I used to make content with my friend named Austin, and me and him are still good friends, and there's a new Call of Duty coming out. He's basically my go-to Call of Duty squad mate, and I'm excited for that. Maybe you guys will see some of that content going forward. But in a general umbrella sense of what new content might look like, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm still figuring out all of the details of the tech behind it because Meredith did so much of that. And I will admit my lack of knowledge and my, ignorance of learning all of that because I was very relaxed in the fact that that wasn't going to change and that she knew what she was doing and she was very good at it. But I'm figuring it all out. I'm hoping to figure out like the notifications and stuff like that so it stops notifying people and changing some of the stuff in the Discord. But in terms of future content, I don't have exact information yet. Like I said, Ashley and I plan to make probably some gaming related stuff. I have been massively back into Magic the Gathering. Not too crazy, but I would love to make some content on that. And also just making content about other things I love and that I'm passionate about. But what those are going to be exactly, I think I'm just going to have to feel out. I'm going to have to see where the next weeks and months of my life take me. And like I said, making content and making videos for you guys is a massive passion of mine. But one of the things I'm trying to focus in on is not necessarily forcing myself to do things because I feel like I have to, but choosing to do those things as I naturally want to and am going to get something out of it. And am going to feel better and more productive and feel just more satisfied with my life and my day-to-day life by doing so. Again, I love making content, so I have no doubt that there's going to be videos going forward, but I just want to say I don't know exactly what they're going to be, and hopefully any of you interested will stick around, and I'd love to have you. I may or may not be trying out a bunch of different things just to kind of see where the ball lands and figure out what feels the most comfortable and what makes me feel the most kind of fulfilled in something that I'm doing, yes, for all of you guys because I love sharing these things, but also that I'm doing for me because it's something that I've loved to do. Okay, on to my last point. I promise I didn't mean for this to be this long. Okay, so the question is for old content. As much as it would be easy for me to say I need to leave all of that behind and just delete it all, I don't think I'm in a place where I can do that just yet. I think that so much time and dedication was put into that, not just by me, but by all of my friends. And I truly think one of the greatest stories, if not the greatest story I've ever witnessed, be told by such creative and innovative and passionate people, that I'm not at a point where I can just say that that should be completely gone, that the archive of years of effort from so many people should just be deleted. I'm currently in charge of that, and that's a big decision to be made. So right now, the current plan is we're going to leave that stuff up. We're going to move forward. I'm going to be making content. We might be making content, we being me and Ashley. And I'm going to be reaching out to potentially other friends that I might try to be making content with as well. And as that content goes up and as we get further from that previous chapter in my life to these newer chapters in my life, we'll see where all of this goes. We'll see what type of videos I'm making by then. We'll see exactly where I am in life by then, how busy I am, and more importantly, how I feel about letting all of that content go or keeping it on the channel or archiving it somewhere else so that I know it's not gone for good, but it's not anchoring down a channel that's trying to go in a different direction back into what it once was, if that makes sense. I don't know. If Rollsicle ends up changing quite a bit and going in a massively different direction, I don't want it to be held back by its past. But similarly, if it ends up going in a similar direction, one of my favorite things to do is look back on YouTube channels and content makers and kind of see where they began. See how much their life has changed and how much their content has changed from the very beginning and watching them grow as a content maker. And truly, I think that this is going to show that for anyone that was previously on Rollsicle or not, in just how much life changes and content that we're making and passions that we have all evolve and change over time. So in terms of the old content right now, it's going to be staying on the channel, but do know that anytime in the future, I may be sending out a message and saying, hey, letting everyone know this is what's happening going forward. And there is a chance, though right now I'm leaning less towards it, that it might just all be deleted. We might just say, hey, that was a wonderful chapter and we all have the memories to boot, but it's time to go ahead and delete it and move the channel forward and move all of our lives forward. As in 1 year, we're graduated. Trenton graduates this semester and Emily graduated last year. So many of these people that I've loved to share this chapter of my life with are beginning the next one. And I can only hope that while we all stay connected and stay in touch with each other and contribute to each other's lives, it's also part of life that slowly but surely we might drift into other things and follow different branches. And that's not a bad thing, it's a beautiful thing. So I just want to end on that note. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. I know that this has been a big concern for a lot of you, and so many of you guys affected not only my life, but Rollsicle members, every single person on the team's life in so many ways. You did more than you ever know. You kept us so passionate and wanting to strive for greatness, not just for ourselves, but for you guys, because of how much you cared and loved and supported us in the content we make. So like I said, thank you guys for what truly is some of the greatest chapters of my life.